Hello my friends, and welcome back for another video here on my YouTube channel. This is Cassie. Today we're going to be playing with the brand new Scrappy Tails card kit. This is their first card kit, and this one is called the Tropical Bliss card kit. I'm going to show you all the things that come in the kit, and I'm only going to bring in a few extra things to make these cards, but I love these papers. They're nice and thick and vibrant in color. They're so pretty, and you get 24 sheets, and you get 4 of each, and they're double-sided, which is great. Yeah, so it's 24 sheets, 12 designs, 4 of each design, and I think that's awesome. You're also going to get this really cute little parrot die cut that comes in the kit, and I think these are so fun to work with. I'll show you how I do it. Then we get the Tropical Bird stamp set. It's a big stamp set with these beautifully detailed birds, and you got lots of great sentiments. There is a die set available separately, but yeah, it does not come in the kit. However, you can get that separate. But isn't that gorgeous? Super beautiful birds. And then we also have this stencil that comes in the kit. So it's a great kit, lots of goodies in there, and we're going to make 5 cards today. To save a little time, I went ahead and stamped out all of my images, and I was coloring those while I was watching TV one day, which is what I love to do with these kits, just kind of stamp everything out and then color them, and then I can make super quick cards. Oftentimes, I'll stamp out several pages of them. And this is what I was talking about with that separate die set, and of course, Miles had to come in and see what I was up to. But I'm just going to cut those apart using my wire cutters. And then I'm going to tack all of those down using a little bit of mint tape, and then I can run this through my die cutting machine. But I love the detail on these fun birds. It makes the coloring so easy. So everything's die cut out. We're going to start with card number 1. I have cut out using a very old Nestabilities, probably from 2008. And I've got a couple different patterns of paper. I cut them both down. As you can see, I used that one piece where I cut out of the center. No one is the wiser. I'm just going to cover that with this piece of cardstock that is just a slight bit smaller. And I'll have that pink border popping through. But isn't that fun? It's a great way to use paper and not have to throw a bunch of it away or feel like you're wasting any of it. So I'm just using liquid glue to adhere everything down. And then I do have a bunch of sentiments stamped out that I used matching dies for as well. I do love that that die set has the dies for the words. And I'm going to glue down our little flamingos on this one. And then we'll glue down our sentiment. But I stamped out all of the images and colored all of them. Only one time. Sometimes I'll do that several times just to make sure I have lots of extra pieces so I can make lots of cards. But then I'm going to glue down one of the stamps that matches that paper in the background, one of the leaves, just because, I don't know, I thought that would be kind of a fun touch on the side. So I'll glue that one down. And then our sentiment will go right on top of that. And then I'll have a card base. It's an A2 card base, so it was cut down to 4 1/4 or 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this will take up the full front of that A2 size card. I do want to bring in just some dies that I had from Trinity stamps, or not dies, these are embellishments. And then I'm just going to use those on all of my cards using my pickup stick and some liquid glue. So there's our first card. And I'm telling you, if you stamp and color out all of your images, it's just so easy to make a bunch of cards. We're going to make a slim line with this one. So I'm taking this pattern, I'm going to cut this down to 3.5 inches. My slim lines, when they're closed, measure 3.5 by 8.5 inches. So this is perfect. I'll just glue this right down on top, and then I'll use that one bird. He's basically going to cover where the papers meet. So it almost looks like, yeah, I love that. Super fun. So that you absolutely can use your 6x6 papers on your slimline cards. We'll glue this one down. You could always use foam tape, but I'm thinking super easy mailer with these and just tacking them all down with that glue. I'll pull in one of our sentiments again that says, this one says, "Hello, gorgeous." I love that one. And then we'll attach that down to our card base. That one measured 7 inches by 8.5 inches, scored at 3.5 inches. And then again, we'll bring in our little embellishments. I'll have them all linked down below, but it's the same embellishments we used earlier. And then I'll just kind of put down a bunch of them and then glue them down with my liquid glue. And there is card number 2. I love how that one turned out. I love that bright orange. Super fun. Now we'll move on to card number 3. This one's going to be another quick one because, again, we had all of our elements pretty much ready. As you can see, I have scraps of cardstock sitting off to the side. I trimmed those down. They're about a 1/4 inch. And then we're going to bring in the stencil that comes in the kit. I went ahead and got my card base all completely ready. We are going to stencil right onto the front of that card base. And I've tacked down my stencil using some mint tape. And then we're going to bring in some Later Gator ink and a blender brush, and we're going to blend just randomly on that background. I don't want the entire background to be filled. I kind of like the idea of some of that white space just showing through. And I'm happy with that, so we'll clean off our stencil, pull that away, and we have a great little background. So now I'm going to take a couple of those strips. Again, they're about a 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch by 6 inch, which I'll have extra sticking from the top and bottom, but I can trim that off. And I'm lining that up on my glass mat just to make sure I have things nice and straight. And then we'll take those last 2 strips and we're actually going to glue those on the inside. Oftentimes, if you watch me or if you've watched me in the past, you know I like to do things on the inside of the cards. Sometimes when I'm doing these 5 cards, 1 kit, I don't often do the insides, but you know, every once in a while when the mood strikes, I will. But if I'm just making a card, I mean, 9 times out of 10, we're going to do something on the inside because I really do love to match or draw the outside to the inside, make everything nice and coherent. So we're just trimming off the excess here, and then we're going to take our little bird, which I think is a parakeet. It's so fun to look up the different birds and see how to potentially color them. I think that's one of my favorite things about this set is that there are probably a ton of ways you could color these birds and you wouldn't be wrong, or just, you know, take creative license and color how you want, which is fun as well. And then we can take our little bird and we can pop him down as well. And then once again, bringing in those same embellishments. I think I'm going to keep this whole bunch of cards as a set, possibly to give as a gift. I love doing that. And people are always so appreciative. I gave a gift of these away last week and somebody was like, oh my gosh, these are so wonderful. I need cards. So it's, you know, always a fun thing to do. So we'll get down those last little bits of embellishments on the front of this card. And then card number 3 will be done. So there's card number 3. All right, now we're going to move on to card number 4. Again, another easy one. So I brought out some pattern paper. We're getting our card base ready. This is an A2 size card, so when it's all scored and closed, it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. This pattern paper I actually cut down to 4 inches by 5 1/2 inches. So there is going to be a white border on one side. And then we'll just glue this down to the front. And I've got my last few little stamped and colored pieces, which are perfect for this card. And then we'll put down our flower and our sentiment and our bird. And part of him is going to stick off. I don't show it, but I do trim that off. I kind of like doing that sometimes too, just having pieces go off the front of the page because that gives you the illusion that there's more going on outside of the card. And then again, with the embellishments, we'll bring those in and tack those down. And so they all are pretty, you know, similar. It'd make a great card set. All right, now we're going to move on to the 5th card. This one's going to take a little bit longer because we are going to use that die. And I'm going to show you how I like to use the die. All of my cardstock, or all of the images that I stamped out, I used Express It cardstock and stamped those using some Memento TUXEDO black ink. This one, I kept my dies all together and I ran that through on that Express It cardstock because I actually really love to Copic color these. Yes, you could do just about anything. You could watercolor them, you know, use watercolor paper if you wanted to. Use colored cardstock. I've seen that done most of the time. Ink blend on it. That'd be another fun way to do this, but this is also a great way to do your little birds or flowers or whatever you want to do. So you can keep it together so you don't lose any of those little pieces. I put them all back in there and then I tacked those in using some of that mint tape. It just keeps everything in place while I'm coloring. And then I'm just kind of making sure I know what colors go where. Putting these together is so super easy. They kind of, or at least for me, it sort of looked intimidating at first when I was looking at the bird. I thought, oh, what do all those pieces go to? But your main image is, it's die cut so beautifully, it's super easy to tell where everything goes and to know what layers go first. So once I get all of these colored, I'm just kind of going off of one of the pattern papers. It has a couple of birds on it. And one of them is this parrot. And the other one is, I think, a cockatoo. Yeah, it's cockatoo. And then I'm just kind of following that. But obviously, creative license, you could color these however you wanted. But I'm just grabbing out random Copic markers, and then we'll pull out our main image. I did just a little coloring on that main image. And then our first piece is going to be the piece of wood or the tree limb that our bird is sitting on. So we'll just glue that down. And then we can start pulling in those next pieces. And once you do it once, yeah, it's super easy and you're going to fly through it the next time. I realize at this point I probably should have colored that one piece. So I'm going to be extremely careful with my Copic marker because now I actually have glue on that one side. So I'm just going to avoid that. If you get glue on any of the tips of your markers, you can ruin them. So I'm just being extremely careful not to get anywhere near that glue. And then now I can glue down my piece. I took it off because I just didn't want to take the risk of potentially coloring it with my marker. All right, then our next piece. And as you start putting it together, you really just start seeing it come alive, which is just so fun. She has so many of these in the line, and there's a bunch of flowers. And I have another video that will be coming out making the pop-up vase. And I'll use several of the flowers, and I'll color them all in the same process just by using the Copics. But like I said, the possibilities are pretty high up there with what you could do using all of your colored cardstocks or other mediums that you might have that you find to be fun. Sprays would be fun. Oxides would be fun. Again, ink blending would be great. But I thought this would give me a lot of creative license as far as how I colored. All right, so now we'll start working on the wing. It has several pieces, so you put down your first piece. It has, well, I think it has about 3 or 4 pieces total. I think it's 4. So then we go into this one. And I like the depth that my Copics can give. The next part of the feathers. And it adds this dimension. Imagine if you used foam squares or foam tape on these as well. You could really give them a ton of dimension. All right, then we can start moving on to the face and his beak, even the little pieces for his eye. So no detail spared here. There is a ton of detail on these, and like I said, I love how easy they are to put together just because of the way that main image is die cut out. It has all of those embossing lines that just show you and make it easy. And this card is the one that took me the longest simply because there was just so much to put together. Not so much, but there was enough to put together that, you know, because once you stamp and die cut all of your images, cards just, I mean, you're cranking them out like nothing. Put down his little beak, and then next will be his eye. And it's only 2 little pieces. So I'm going to use my pickup stick for that so that I don't lose them and I can easily put them on there. It's a little orange one and a little black piece, which is proving to be a bit of an issue. But once that's on there, our little bird is all done. So cute. Check him out. I love it. All right, so then for my card, I did decide to fussy cut out a bunch of the leaves from this pattern paper. And then I cut down my card panel to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, so it'll be a little bit smaller than an A2 size card. And I'm going to put a bunch of these leaves just behind my parrot, my parrot. I'll put down my sentiment. And I just think that one's such a fun one. Hope your day is outstanding. Put some leaves behind it. One last leaf, and then we'll glue down our bird. This is where it would have been kind of fun to use some foam tape, but again, easy mailer. And then we'll bring in our card base, which again is an A2. So completely closed measures 4¼ by 5½ inches. We'll tack this down. Then, of course, we have to bring in our embellishments again. I did trim down that one leaf because it was sticking off an awful lot, but that finishes off card number 5, and that finishes our kit. So let's go ahead and take a look at all of the cards that I made for you today. I would love to know which one was your favorite, if you did in fact have a favorite. Please leave that down in the comment section down below. If you like this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.